Flip to Freedom, episode number 65. Hello again, this is Sean Terry from the Flip to Freedom podcast, and we are on episode number 65. And today we get a rocking episode for you today. We are going to talk about how to get unlimited free deals. Not leads, deals. And I haven't done any podcast about this before, and you're going to absolutely love it. I know you are. So if you are listening for the very first time, I'd like to welcome you and let you know that I have put this podcast together for you to show you how to escape the 9-to-5. Get out of the rat race, get out of your job, get out of the politics, get out of the mundane, brain dead corporate America sludge that's out there. So that is what this podcast is about. And how you can do that is by learning how you can flip properties. And, we talk about real estate investing, and, there's a couple different ways you could, get into real estate. You could, you can buy and hold, and you could get $200 or $300 or $500 a month cash flow, and you could get into multifamily and get larger cash flow. But a lot of that, you have to have good credit. You have to have cash to be able to get into that game. Well, what if you could get into real estate without having to have any cash or having to have any credit? Even having terrible credit doesn't matter. When I first started this, I think my credit score was in like the 400s when I first got up and going, and I was desolate broke. So what's great about this business is that you can get involved because the barrier of entry is extremely low. Now, flipping houses is as simple as finding a motivated seller. Once you find a motivated seller, someone that has to sell their house, not someone that wants to sell their house, but someone needs to sell their house. They have to sell their house. And there are tons of them out there. You contract with them for a price. Let's say you have a $100,000 house, you contract it for $50,000, and then all you did now was sign a contract. Once you sign that contract, that's a sellable asset. Then what you do is now you market it to a buyer. Now the buyer could be a cash buyer. It could be a retail buyer if you have seller financing that you negotiated on your purchase contract with the seller. But let's say in this, to make it real simple, let's say in this example, you have a $100,000 house and you turn around and sell it to a cash buyer for $60,000. Now, you're probably going, well, cash buyers, are people actually buying properties cash today? Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? People are buying cash all over the entire country because it's a magical time in the marketplace right now because smart money. People that have cash are flocking into this marketplace right now looking for smoking deals. And then there are people that are selling their house or need to sell their house, and they're in a situation where they read the news, and guess what the news says? We're in the worst real estate crisis in history. So like I said, there's a magical time. So what happens is these cash buyers are looking for smoking deals. Well, if you can give someone a property at $60,000 is worth $100,000, that's a smoking deal. Well, guess what? They'll bring in the cash in 7 days or less to close on the property, and that $60,000 will be wired in, of which $10,000 goes to you, and the $50,000 goes to the seller. Now, the seller's happy. They got their property. They didn't have to deal with a realtor. They didn't have to fix it up. They didn't have to deal with inspections. They didn't have to deal with this, that, and the other, the waiting. And your buyer's happy because they got a smoking deal, and you put the two together and you made $10,000, you are happy. Now, my question to you is this. What if you did that 5 times a year? That's it. I do it 5 times a month. I'm saying, for you, let's say you do it 5 times a year. That's an extra $50,000 that you could make by flipping properties in your spare time. It was amazing. I went down to a house and look at a property yesterday with a guy here locally. His name's Brian, and he got a mobile home under contract for $12,000 and turned around and sold it for $20,000 in a week. Made $8,000 just around his job. He had a seller call him. He contracted it for $12,000, sold it for $20,000, closed on it in a week, and picked up an extra $8,000. Not a bad deal, just working around his job. And that's his second deal. First deal, he made over close to $8,000 on his first deal. So he's made an extra almost, $16,000, right, in a matter of 2 months, a month and a half. Now what would it take to get $16,000 raise on your job right now? Probably a lot, right? A lot of butt kissing, I don't know, whatever. But the bottom line is you don't have to do that. Now, the goal of this is to show you how to escape the 9 to 5, right? To get out of it. And the way you do that is by continuously doing this, learning this business, getting 1 year's worth of cash in the bank as fast as humanly possible. If you can get 1 year's worth of cash in the bank, then you'll have the option to quit your job. If you make $50,000, the goal is to get $50,000 of cash in the bank as fast as humanly possible. And that's it. And then you have the option to quit your job. Now, in this particular episode, we are going to talk about unlimited free deals. See, when you get up and going and you're first starting, the biggest obstacle is one, first wrapping your head around the whole transaction. Once you understand it and you can wrap your head around the transaction and how this works and how you get paid and from point A to point B of how a whole transaction works, then it becomes, okay, marketing. I've got to market for sellers. I've got to market and I've got to get sellers calling me that want to sell their houses, those people that need to sell their house. And a lot of the work entailed is kind of talking to sellers and sorting who's motivated and who's not and who has equity and who doesn't, and who has a loan we can structure with seller financing and who doesn't. So your goal, your job pretty much is basically sorting through these motivated sellers. So how can we get unlimited free deals? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this business. In this particular episode. All right. Now, we're also going to talk about a business model that you can build this. What I'm going to talk about in this podcast is a business model you can build your whole business around. And that's what I pretty much did. Starting about last April, when I launched this podcast, April 2010, was the primary idea around this business model. And I'll show you how that works. So that's what we're going to talk about in this episode. I got a cool new tool that I've been using that works a lot better than some of these other comparable property sites that we look at. Also, too, if you want to get more from me, you can go to flip2freedom.com, flip2freedom.com. There'll be a video of me on the front page, and you can download my book for free. You just enter your email in there, and you can download it for free. Or if you want, you can search in iTunes iBooks. Just search real estate or real estate investing. I'll be the #1 spot. And I have it published inside of iBooks. You can read it there. Or even on Amazon. If you want to go to Amazon, I have it there as well. But the easiest way to get it is go to flip2freedom.com, and you can get that for free downloaded right there. And you can see all the other podcasts. You can see case studies. You can see all sorts of stuff. All right. Now, before I get into the meat here, I'm going to talk. I want to actually recognize several people that went into iTunes and submitted reviews. That's where they actually searched the Flip to Freedom podcast, or actually they searched real estate investing in iTunes, and they actually submitted a review. First one comes from Andrew Hod, September 6, 2011. 5 stars. 7 deadly sins. That's a podcast I did, episode, I think it's number 37. It says, great work, Sean. The 7 Deadly Sins podcast has been my favorite thus far of the 37. Great information put in an easy-to-understand way. Answers many of the questions of what not to do. Perfect. Keep up the great work. Andrew, thank you so much for going in there and submitting that review. I greatly appreciate it. The next one is from Sean Evans on September 12, 2011. A must-listen. 5 stars. Sean is the Rudy Rudiger of real estate, I guess. Hopefully I'm a little bit taller than Rudy Rudiger, but boy, I love that movie. Isn't that the best movie? At the end, every time, you know what? If you haven't watched that movie, you got to watch that movie. But every single time at the end of the movie, I'm actually getting goosebumps talking about it, but at the end of the movie, when he tackles the quarterback and his family rises and the stadium rises and they're like, whoa, and they're all excited. Man, I get goosebumps and tears in my eyes, and I just absolutely love that movie. So, hey, to say I'm the Rudy Rudiger real estate, I greatly appreciate it, because that's one of my favorite movies. Okay, Sean is the Rudy Rudiger of real estate. He's an investor Sean's goal for this podcast is to absolutely give people the best knowledge, encourage, and motivation to get into. I wish I could read. My eyes are going buggy here. Motivation to get into the world of making money flipping real estate. Okay, sorry I'm murdering your thing, Sean, there, but my eyes are going buggy here. I highly recommend these podcasts to anyone looking to start in their real estate investing career. I warn you though, once you start listening, you're not going to want to stop. So thank you so much. I don't listen to my podcast because I hate to hear the sound of my voice, but is what it is. Anyways, so guys, thank you so much for going in there and submitting your reviews. All right, let's get into the meat. Enough of the jibber jabber. All right, tool. What tool am I using right now for finding comparable sales? A lot of you may know this, but I have recently kind of discovered it. I use MLS because my wife is a real estate agent, and so I use MLS a lot. But sometimes she's on the MLS, and I can't get on the MLS, or I'll bump her off the MLS, right? So we go back and forth texting each other going, hey, are you on? Are you off? What's going on? And so what I started looking for is I found a site called Redfin, and Redfin's a great site, redfin.com, that you can do a lot of cool different things. One is you can find everything that's for sale in a particular neighborhood, and also you can find everything that's sold in the last 3 months, and it puts in a nice little list for you at the bottom, puts it on a map for you. It actually gives you pictures, details of the property. You can tell if it's remodeled. You can tell if it's a short sale or not, and you actually can do a search to lowest to high. So when you're doing, you're making offers to people on the phone, obviously you want to be the lowest. You want to sell at the lowest number. So when you're doing your search of your comparable properties, then you can do a quick search and determine what's the lowest. What are the properties that are going for the lowest? If the guy wants 60 and everything's going for 40, then you can say, hey, listen, bud, looks like to me everything's going for 35 to 40,000 in your neighborhood. 60 is going to be a little far stretched. If we want to come down a little bit down lower, I might be able to do better if the house is in excellent, tip-top, 2011 condition. But otherwise, if it's not been updated, then, it looks like there's stuff around in the 40,000. If those numbers work, I'd love to sit down and talk to you and come actually look at the property. And they're either going to say yes or no, or, if they say yes, you can move forward and make it work. But basically, Redfin's a great tool to be able to find what's on the market, what has sold in a very easy format and very easily displayed. So that's redfin.com. Okay. Now, what am I talking about when it comes to finding unlimited deals? Okay, I'm not talking leads, I'm actually talking deals. Deals, where they're actually contracts that are coming to you. Well, here it is. It's working and training and developing, wait for it, a team of bird dogs. A team of bird dogs. So what does that mean? Having a team of bird dogs. Well, let me give you an example of my day so far. Today is it's Wednesday, September 14th. Okay, I got a call from one of my guys locally here, and he said, hey, I got a smoking deal. I got a motivated seller. He inherited the property. He wants to get rid of it, and he's asking what the lowest of the low comparable sales are. So I said, boom. Schedule an appointment, get it done. He scheduled an appointment for Monday, all good to go. I got a text from my guy. I said, hey, I got this property down in Tempe. The guy wants $124,000. I pull quick comps on the property, and boom, guess what? The thing's worth over $200,000, $225,000 on my quick and dirty search on the property. Boom. Got another deal under contract for property for $11,000. We're selling for $16,000. Got another property. Let me see. Let me check. It's been unbelievably busy, and it's primarily due to what I am going to talk to you about today. I'm pulling up Freedom Soft right here to pull up my current, because I know there was another one that I was working on. Oh yeah, another call. That's right. Another call from a guy who negotiated, got the property under contract, got it under contract for $145. We can sell it for $168. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, no, another one. This is one right here. Another one we got a contract for 10,000. We're selling for 17,000. So those are deals, and these aren't including all the other deals I got going on that are already in contract, that are marketed, that sold, and stuff like that. So when you're working with bird dogs, it is phenomenal because you get deals coming in all the time. You get either text or calls are coming in, and you can work with them on structuring the deal correctly, getting it under contract, and then turn around and selling it. And I'm going to talk about, in this particular episode, I'm going to talk about how to find, right, bird dogs, working with the bird dogs. We're going to talk about deal structure and how to legally structure the deal so you don't get in trouble with anybody. So the first thing I want to talk about when you're working with bird dogs is you got to have the mindset, okay? Because there's two different things. You're either on one, there's a line. You're either on one side of the line or you're on the other side of the line. One side of the line is where you're a student, okay? You're a student and you put yourself in I'm learning, I'm brand new, I'm just getting started, I'm learning how the comps work, I'm learning how the market for sellers, I'm learning. Now, some people never get themselves out of that student role, okay? So they've got the hat on, and they're on the one side of the line, and they're a student. I've got to learn this. I can't do this before I learn this. I can't do that before I learn that. I got to go do another seminar. I got to buy another course. I got to do whatever it might be, okay? So they're always learning. I got to listen to the right podcast. There's got to be something that's going to put me over the edge. And what's over the edge? Going from student to teacher, right? Well, guess what? You can be a teacher. You can put that hat on. You know more than you think you know. Just by listening to these 64 different episodes, you know way more than I ever did when I first started. So when it comes to mindset, you have to wear the hat of that you're a teacher. You're a leader. Now, I spent 4 years in the United States Marine Corps, and when you first went, I came in, I was an enlisted, and you come in as a private. In a private, you are put in a position where you're a student. You're learning, and you're taking orders from the corporals and the sergeants and the gunnery sergeants and stuff like that. There's a chain of command. And then what happens is you put in your time and energy, and you learn more about things, and then you become a PFC, a private first class. And guess what? You get a stripe on your arm, and you get some, maybe little medals and stuff like that, or whatever. But guess what? You go, wow, I've been promoted. Now I feel a little bit more confident, and guess what? Now you become a more of a teacher to the privates, okay? And then guess what? You get promoted from a PFC, private first class, up to a lance corporal, okay? And now you're a lance corporal. Now you are in charge of the PFCs and the privates. And then it continues to progress. You put in more time and energy, and you learn more, and you become more confident in your abilities. Then you move up to a corporal. And now you're a corporal, considered a non-commissioned officer. So now what happens is now you're put in charge of all the lance corporals and all the privates and all the PFCs. Okay? Now you're a leader. You're in that position. And then it just goes up from there. So the bottom line is that once I learned in the Marine Corps is that there is no difference, really, between a private or a lance corporal and a corporal. It's just basically a patch on your arm. The only difference is mindset. Now, Jessica Alba, if you know her, a beautiful actress, and she has a perfect quote that I happen to read that goes perfect for that analogy. And here it goes. Jessica Alba. It says, "My theory is that if you look confident, you can pull off anything, even if you have no clue what you're doing." Now, isn't that great? If you look confident, you can pull off anything, even if you don't know what the heck you're doing. But you got to look confident. So that's the thing. When I was promoted to a corporal, guess what? I was put in a position where there are things I didn't know as a corporal that a corporal should do. But guess what? I acted like it. I was confident. I acted confident. Just like she says, if you look confident, you can pretty much pull off anything. So it's that shift in mindset that first off, we have to make a decision. And we have to make a decision, okay, do we want to be a student for all of our lives, or do we want to be a teacher? Now, I can tell you this. Being a teacher and being a leader, you'll make 10 times more money than being a novice and being a student. Okay? 10 times. Now, there is no magic formula, and there is no time you have to put in or knowledge that you know to be that leader. Okay? There is no, okay, you have to listen to all 64 episodes, you have to read my book, and you have to do this, that, and the other, and then, bam, you're going to get promoted to corporal real estate investor, and now you're going to be a leader, and now you can turn around and inspire and work with other people. That's not it. Okay? You can make a decision, say, you know what, I'm going to stick my, I'm going to plant my flag in the ground right here, and I'm going to be a leader. And guess what? I'm going to tell you, in America today, I'm talking to so many people, especially in this business, people need leadership. People need leadership like you that's going to step up and lead, that's going to have confidence in their own abilities, that's going to go out and show people in the path and the road. Now, it might need that your path, you might be going down the path and still figuring out the path yourself, but that's okay. It's being able to step up and say, hey, listen, you know what? Follow me. This is where we're going. We're going to go out and find great deals. We're going to go market. I'm going to go down on the appointment. I'm going to go talk to these sellers. I'm going to help you get the contract, and we're going to get this sucker sold. Now, inside, you might be going, holy cow, I don't know how to talk to a seller. What if I can't sell the property? What if it doesn't work? I know. Guess what? I do the same thing. Everybody's human. I remember the first appointment that I went on with a bird dog, and I was the expert, and he was the new guy, right? I went down, and I was freaking out too. I'm driving over there, going, oh man, what if I blow it? What if I trip over my tongue? What if I can't, get the deal closed? What if I look like an idiot? Everybody does it. It's human. It's just part of it. But it's the guy that recognizes it and goes, hey, you know what? Oh well, I'm just going to do it anyways. See, maybe I'm just a blockhead. Maybe I'm just stubborn. I don't know. Maybe I'm just whatever. But, for me, I just do things. You know what? Let's do it. Let's just get it done. Let's do it. Okay, you want an appointment on Tuesday? I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't know what the comps are. Let's go. Let's do it. Because you'll figure it out. And amazing things will happen. So when it comes to mindset, make a decision today to put the hat on, promote yourself to corporal, get your confidence in there, talk yourself into it. Talk yourself into it. I can do this. Listen to how many ever episodes you have to do to get yourself pumped up and confident, but you make a decision to be a teacher. Make a decision to be a leader, and then when you start making that, amazing things will happen. People will just start coming to you. They'll just be attracted to you by the way you walk and talk and the way you present yourself. It's amazing. All right, so now how to find these bird dogs. Now that you've got the mindset, you're going to be the teacher. That has to be paramount. Now you can start putting yourself out there. Now, I can tell you this. First off and foremost, you have to be a giver. Okay? Giver of your knowledge, giver of your time, giver of yourself, to be able to work with people as a teacher, because you're a teacher. You are working and helping other people, okay? So you have to be. When I was in the Marine Corps and I was a Lance Corporal and I had a PFC or a Lance Corporal or whatever coming to me and asking questions, well, guess what? I had to give myself. I just couldn't blow them off. I had to do what I could do to help them be more of a soldier. So you have to be a giver of your knowledge, your time. And I can tell you that has been probably why I have built more relationships with bird dogs locally here than probably anybody else. Because I don't hold back anything. I teach them and work with them. For an example, I have this one guy's name's Dustin. Dustin and I, we probably made $30,000 to $40,000 together. meaning I've made 40, he's made 40, together this past year. Okay, in the sense since January, and I think I met him at the beginning of the year. But anyways, he had a property. He was brand new. Got this property under contract. Didn't really know what to do with it. He called all these other different investors. I remember I pulled up to the house and there was a big old truck, that said, "We buy houses" on the side, which I don't have that on my Range Rover, but it says "We buy houses." And he's in there. The guy's talking. The guy walked out and I walked back in. So he was shuffling every one of my competitors through the door, right? Shuffling through the door just to figure out what price they're going to give on it. He was trying to sell the property, right? So I walk in there and we just start talking. We start talking about property, talk about him, how long he's got in the business, what he's doing, how does he finding deals, what's he learning, what's his biggest obstacles are, what he could need help with. And I was just there to turn around and talk to him. And guess what? I said, what, honestly, bud, I think it's a great property, but I think you have to renegotiate to this price, and I think that we can make it work. He said, okay, well, how would you exactly do that? So then I said, okay, here, this is what you got to do to renegotiate. And guess what? He turned around to renegotiate. He called me back and said, okay, I got it done. Let's do it. So I put it out to market, turned around and sold it, and I think we both paid $11,000 on the deal. Great deal, right? So that was a $22,000 deal that we turned around and got the deal sold. The seller was happy. We were happy. And, the buyer was happy. Everything was great. But the bottom line was this, is that I was there to turn around and help him, to answer his questions and walk him through the process. Well, since then, he's turned around now, and now as he calls me for every deal he's got, he calls me up and says, "Hey, what about this one? What do you think we should do with this one?" Bam, 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 bam. Talk, tell him what needs to happen, tell him the structure of it, and he turns around, he gets the contract, brings it back and say, "Okay, we got it under contract. Great, let's sell it." So I'll turn around and sell it. We split profits 50-50. He's happy. He doesn't have to deal with that. He just deal with talking to sellers and getting deals under contract. Close to $40,000. That's off one person. Now, what if you have 10 people that are all doing that? Isn't that amazing? You have 5 people that are all doing that. Isn't that amazing? So the bottom line is this, is that when you're now working with bird dogs, you have to give of yourself, your time and your energy. And guess what? I talked to him. There have been plenty of deals that I've answered questions and talked to him on the phone for 20, 30 minutes and didn't blow him off and just been there to answer his questions about certain things that we haven't got deals out of. But then guess what? Another deal will come up. Because I'm not short with him. I don't make him feel stupid. We just talk about how we can structure deals. Okay. All right. So that's be a giver. Second thing, now here goes more of the technical side of it, of actually finding motivated bird dogs, people that are motivated that want to go out and learn the business. Obviously, you can post ads on Craigslist. Okay, you can post a simple ad on Craigslist and you said, "Hey, I'm a real estate investor looking for new real estate investors to help flip properties. I can help you, negotiate, sell the property, close the deal. Call me if you're interested." So you're going to have people that are going to call you that are brand new people, that are investors looking to flip properties that you can work with them on. The other thing is to attend REI clubs and meetup groups and start talking to other investors that are new, because a lot of other investors are looking for some sort of support or some sort of community that they can be involved in, that they could share their ideas and learn from other people and need help with. Because real estate is so fluid. It's amazing. Every deal is different. Every property is different. Every circumstance is different. Every seller is different. Every buyer is different. And because it's so fluid, people are looking for that teacher that could help them in that structure to be able to structure the deal and negotiate with the seller, get the property under contract and sell it. So attending those groups, you can start meeting other newer real estate investors and just be the person that can turn around and help them through their questions. Next thing is build a blog. I had a blog, or I used to have a blog. I do have a blog. And I started this, I think, back in 2008. It's called Deal Maker's Blog. That's what I call it, Deal Maker's Blog. And I wrote post about just what's going on in my life. I did, quotes from like Joel Osteen and Michael Jordan and Donald Trump. And, I wrote about different deals that was going on and stuff like that on Deal Maker's Blog. Now, that particular website is still up and live and still sitting there, but I use that primarily to attract bird dogs. And I found there's a lot of people that read that wanted to connect with me to actually do deals locally, amazingly enough. Now, what I found is, when it comes to a blog, is that I hate to write. I don't like to write at all. Writing is difficult. I can't spell worth a whatever. I just don't like to write at all. I'd rather sit there and talk in the mic about something exciting. So that blog is out there, and it worked for its purpose, and I've got a lot of great compliments on it. The other thing is post videos on YouTube. You can post videos on YouTube, and you can specify it to your specific, like Phoenix or Orlando or whatever, your specific region. So if people are looking for information about a specific local, then you could be that person that's speaking on YouTube. YouTube's a great way. The other thing is participate in forums. Now, forums are like Bigger Pockets or REI Club. Now, what I like about Bigger Pockets is you can actually see local people in your market because it tells where people are from. Actually, another gentleman I met, his name is Dorsey. We've done probably together made $15,000, maybe $20,000, $15,000, maybe about $15,000 together or more on several different properties. And I met him off Bigger Pockets. He had a question on there. I replied back to the question on Bigger Pockets, and I said, hey, if you're interested, I'm here locally. I've got a bunch of stuff going on here. We can connect. I can help you out. So he messaged me back and said, oh my gosh, I'd love to. And next thing you know, he comes to one of our meetings. We do meetings every 2 weeks. And he got started and started learning some stuff and flipping properties. So that is a great way, is putting yourself out there as the person that's going to teach. Now, how to work with the bird dogs, okay? That's the next thing. When working with the bird dogs, primarily what I do is work with a 50-50% split, 50-50 split. Basically what it is that there's two different things. One, they'll either go out and get the contract and bring it back, which is one of the best ways to do it. I said, hey, I got a contract. Here it is. Here's the price. Can we turn around and sell it? I said, okay, yeah, great. Or we have to renegotiate. And we turn around and sell it and split the profits 50-50. So that's how I work with the bird dogs, 50-50 split. Now, I typically, if they're brand new, I'll go on an appointment with them. Okay, like the couple appointments we have coming up here. I will go on the appointment. I'll talk to the seller. I'll walk the house. They'll pretty much shadow me, and I'll negotiate. I'll have the contract, everything right there. And if it's permitted, then if everything works out and we're good, we'll sign the contract right there on the spot, and we'll be good to go. So that's typically what happens. Okay, I'll go with them on the appointment. I'll market the property, and I'll turn around and I'll get it. I'll put it through my process of having the property open escrow with my title lady. Make sure the property is has clear title, and then we're going to put it out to market and get the property sold as fast as possible. Now, when it comes to camaraderie, what I do is I pull every 2 weeks. Every Thursday, we pull everyone together, and it ranges from, we might have 5 people there, we might have 20 people there, and we meet at a local place, and we get together, and everyone's just talking about different deals going on and what they need help on and marketing and this, that, and the other, and just pulling everybody together, talking about, and it builds that camaraderie, and we talk about different things that's going on in the marketplace right now. So that's a great way through, and I'm the one that pretty much puts it on. Tell everybody, I got everyone's email address, and tell them, hey, when we're going to meet, this is what we're going to talk about, this is what we're going to talk about this particular on this particular meeting, and everyone comes together and we all meet, and it works great. Now, this right is on a local basis, okay? Because there's local and then there's national, which we'll get into in a second. So that is basically how I pretty much keep everybody connected. Is every 2 weeks we meet, we sit down at a local place, whether it be a Paradise Bakery or a Starbucks coffee. We get together and talk about deal structure. And you can start that. It'll start with 1 or 2, then 3 or 4, then 5 or 6, 7 or 8, 9 or 10. Next thing you know, you have maybe 5 to 10 people that be working. Not everybody's going to go out and crank it out and bring a bunch of deals, but guess what? You'll be there. You'll be the person there, so when they do have a deal, when they come across the deal, they're going to call you and say, hey, listen, I got one. Thanks for helping me out. And because you've given out so much of your time and your energy and who you are and yourself, that they will reciprocate by saying, here, I've got a smoking deal. Okay? I'll give an example. One of the guys, he was down at the meeting, and a couple guys, they just called me today on that one deal for $145,000 I was telling you about. We'll sell for $168 or so. These guys, part of the meeting, got up and going. They're a little bit. They've been in the business. They've done short sales before. But the bottom line is they went out and they talked to the realtor. They gave him a different opinion. Talked to another wholesaler, gave him a different opinion. They kind of felt shaky on where they were on the deal right now, and they basically called me up and said, "Hey, I've got all these opinions. I'm kind of shaky. What do you think I should do? Where do you think we are?" So I went through and I comped the property with him, kind of gave him my opinion, and told him what I thought the property's worth and what we could sell it for. And he goes, "Oh man, if you could sell for that, that'd be great." I said, "Great. Well, we'll split the deal together. Open up escrow with Eileen. We'll start cranking it out and get the sucker sold, and we'll split the profits." And that could be a smoking deal. So it was basically the turnaround and that I gave in information and helped them out. That now they reciprocate, and we get to do the deal together. Okay, so. And I don't have people sign non-competes. I don't have them. I don't restrict them to not selling deals themselves. I don't do that, because that's just not the way I work. If they're straight up person, if they are straight up and they know that we're all working and I'm helping them out through the process, then they will work. And they'll split profits. Now, am I at risk that they could screw me? Maybe. If they do, then. There's 10 other people that will fill their spot. Do you see what I'm saying? I trust people emphatically until they screw me. If they screw me, then I'll never talk to them again. I mean, that's just the way it is. So I give everybody the benefit of the doubt of being the best person. And then, if something happens, then guess what? I X them out. Done. They're over, So that's just the way I work. I don't do legal agreements or anything like that. Now let's talk about deal structure and how to make it legal. Because what happens is you can't essentially pay bird dogs in some states. You can't say, here, if you give me this property, I'll pay you a commission. Because that's going to go against some of the Department of Real Estate. So what you want to do is structure the deal correctly so you're legal. Now, first off, I'm not an attorney. I can't give you advice. This is what I do here, but I would, for you in your particular state, I would contact an attorney and have them review your process to make sure you're 100% legal and you don't get in trouble when it comes to any departments of real estate, when it comes to flipping properties and paying bird dogs. Okay, so first off, you can't pay a commission. You can't do it. So what can you do, right? Well, guess what? A bird dog can get a contract in their name. Okay, so when I'm working with a bird dog, and I'm going to go on an appointment with them, they're going to get the contract in their name. Okay, now once they have the contract in their name, they can assign or sell me the contract for 50% of the net proceeds upon the resale of the property. Okay, so now that gives me equity interest because they now assigned me the contract. Now I have the right to turn around and sell the property. Okay, that's one way to do it, where the bird dog will get the contract in their name. The second way to do it is where the bird dog gets the contract in their name and your name. Okay, gets a contract in their name and your name. So both names. So then now you both have equity interest. You'll both be on the title, and then you can just split profits however you decide to split profits. So that can be done and arranged as well. That could protect yourself a little bit better. But typically what I do is once they get the contract in their name, we'll do an assignment right there on the spot for 50% of the proceeds, and then we'll move forward to go to closing. And then I can market it. Okay. Now, what also too you want to do is have the closing agent cut them a check directly. Don't have the proceeds go to you and then you cut the check to the bird dog. Have the agreement of the assignment inside the file folder at your title company or closing agent, whatever. And then based upon that agreement, the escrow company is instructed to cut checks, half to your bird dog and half to you. Okay, then they'll take care of the IRS reporting. They'll do all that type of stuff. They'll get a 1099 from the title company, and that's not something you have to deal with on your side. Again, make sure that you confirm that with your attorney. Make sure you look it over. Make sure for your state, because every state is different, just as disclaimer purposes, that I'm not an attorney and I can't give you any specific guidelines on that. I'm just telling you exactly what I do. Okay, now, That's bird dogs. Now, that's on a local basis. Something that you can work with on a local basis of building, posting ads on Craigslist, having a blog, putting things on YouTube, bigger, going in bigger pockets and forums, giving back to people. I get contacted from other wholesalers all the time that are new. They're saying, hey, and you can tell if they just came out of a class, right? Because they'll call up and say, hi, I was just calling up to see what your criteria was for buying properties. And I'll typically say, so what class seminar did you just get out of? And they'll catch them off guard. Oh, what are you talking about? Oh, what seminar did you just get out of? Well, you just get a seminar because that's a pretty canned question, but yeah, I'd be bound to help you out. Well, I can tell you right now in this market, stuff is selling between 68 and 72%, but depending on the condition. So have you found any properties yet? How are you looking for property? And then I'm just going to open up a conversation with them and just talk to them and help them out. And then maybe invite them to a mastermind meeting and they can come and join us and stuff because people like that community. Okay. So bottom line, that's what happens. Now, for me, what happened was I was at a point in my business back in 2010, April, and I had two different choices. One, either A, ramp the sucker up, hire a bunch of more people, put signs up, TV advertising, blow out the marketing, and just go banana and just crank out this market locally and just have a machine of flipping houses, right? Have a bunch of sales guys, have a crew, and then have an office and have a bunch of people and just bust it out. That was option one. Or option two was to create a podcast and then teach other people how to do it local to work with local bird dogs. Okay. Now, the idea was to say that I was just going to do it local. I was going to have a podcast there. I could put a blog out. I could refer people to. They could learn the information, and then I could work with them on the process of finding properties. It would create me as an authority figure, and then I would be able to do more deals locally, but not have all the burden of the marketing all on one person. Okay. Now, what happened is that as soon as you put a podcast in iTunes, 50 billion people start listening to it and downloading it, and then you get contacted from everybody and their brother all across the entire country. And that's what happened. So I got people calling me all over the entire country saying, hey, we want more. We want more. We love your book. We love your podcast. We want more. And that's why I started the Flip to Freedom Academy, which is more by providing video tutorials on exactly this step-by-step process on how to quit your job in 19 weeks or less. So that was the whole process. Now, because of that, now I have a business which is lean and mean, and I can work from anywhere in the world and work with people flipping properties all across the entire world, which is great. Now, for an example, I took the entire summer off, July, hung out at the beach at my beach house in Southern California with the kids. We're at the beach every single day, literally. We played tennis with my older daughter. She's a tennis rock star. And we're at the beach, or we're hanging out at the pool, or doing whatever we do. For the whole summer. It was a blast. And still I was cranking out deals left and right because guess what? People were bringing contracts, getting the pictures, getting the information, open up title. I'd stick it out on my website. I'd sell the property. We'd close on it. I'd get paid. It was phenomenal. It gives you the ability to go out and do amazing things. So, but it hasn't always been like that. I can tell you it hasn't always been like that. It was a decision point to go from student to go to teacher, to put that hat on. And just like Jessica Abba says in her quote right there, is that if you look confident, you can pretty much pull off anything. I wasn't confident. I wasn't confident at all. Yeah, I did deals and I talked to sellers and I got deals under contract, but I'm just an average everyday guy here in Phoenix, and not some gazillionaire or whatever. I'm just an average everyday guy and I was like, hey, man, maybe I'll talk into a mic on my Mac computer and stick it on iTunes. And then people think, oh my gosh, you're an authority figure. That's not the case. But I can tell you just a handful of years ago, I was in my early 20s. I think it was 24, 25. You know that awkward transition in your life when you're lost? Lost, 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 lost. I was lost. When you don't really have a grasp on what you want to do with the rest of your life, you're just in a bad place. That was it for me. I was living in a house with 3 other roommates. I was bartending at a local bar in Tempe, Arizona, and I was a mess. I mean, bartending, sometimes we get a bunch of tips, sometimes we didn't get any tips. It was only busy on, Friday and Saturday. I felt like I was getting screwed from everybody, every angle. I had a bad attitude. It was terrible. And I remember I was one day, I didn't have any money. Nothing. I didn't have anything. And I literally went to the backyard of my house, of this house. And in Phoenix, they have orange trees. And I remember picking oranges off the tree. And that was my breakfast, that was my lunch, and that was my dinner. See, I didn't come from a wealthy family where I could call up mom or I could call up dad and I could say, hey, can you wire me a couple $1,000 so I can get through? No, I didn't have that. I didn't have that at all. I tried, but it didn't work. So I literally was eating oranges off the tree of my house. And my fingernails, when you have, I don't know if you peel oranges. If you eat too many oranges, man, I was almost starting to look orange. I had an orangish tint in my face. I had, my fingernails were orange just because I was eating so many oranges. That was my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I didn't want to mooch off all my, my roommates and stuff like that. And yeah, I was working as a bartender, but then, you know what? That was over. I wasn't making enough to make ends meet. I was looking for something to do. Well, it came to the point, I remember one evening where my close friend, who was the best man at my wedding, his name is Scott Edwards, he came over to the house. And I remember I must have looked frail. Because, wow, he goes, dude, are you okay? I was like, I'm all right. What's up? He goes, here, come on, get in the car. So he puts me in his car, and he drives me down the street, and he pulls in the local grocery store. And we walk into the grocery store. He gives me a cart, and he says, go ahead. Buy whatever you want. And I don't know about you, but oh man, that was for me unbelievable. Because I could go fill my cart with spaghetti and ramen noodles and he paid for the whole thing. And to this day, oh man, I thank him so much for that. That night, I went home and I was grateful. And I got on my knees by my bed and I prayed to God. I said, I need some guidance. I need some help. Please give me guidance. And in a matter of a couple weeks, I was interviewing for a company who was looking for people as independent sales reps. And in that company, I met my wife. And just a handful of years after that, I went from being broke, eating oranges off a tree, to being a national speaker, trainer, and making well over $1 million teaching people all across the entire country about sales and negotiating techniques. Unbelievable in just a short period of time. And like I said, it's not because I'm anything great at all. It's because at that point, when I was right there, when he said, here, put the cart, I'm in the grocery store, get whatever you want. And when I was on my knees and I said, God, you got to give me guidance, right there, I stopped worrying about what every other person thought of me. I stopped worrying about what everybody else expected of me. I stopped worrying about what other people's opinions of. Maybe I should offend them. I'm a pleaser. I just want to please everybody. And I spent more time worrying about what other people thought of me and what other people expected of me. When I stopped worrying about that and started believing in myself and believing in my abilities, things took off magically. Now, you might be listening to this right now and might be thinking, oh man, I don't have the confidence. I can't lead other people. I can't do that. I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. You do have the ability. You do have the talent. Now, I found this awesome clip that I want you to listen to. It's from the movie Muhammad Ali. And it pretty much lays it down exactly like I want you to hear it. So listen to this right now.
Some people listen to themselves rather than listen to what others say. These people don't come along very often. But when they do, they remind us that once you set out on a path, even though critics may doubt you, it's okay to believe that there is no can't, won't, or impossible. They remind us that it's okay to believe impossible is nothing.
Impossible is nothing. See, you may not have faith in your own abilities. You may not have faith in your capabilities. But from where I stand and where I have been, you do have, because see, I know me. And I know I know who I am, right? And I know the fears, the inhibitions, the being scared. I know that's part of me too. But what happens is that when you are sick of being broke, if you are sick of your job enough, sick of being away from your kids, sick of being away from life, not connected, when you get so fed up with that, and now you come to a decision point and going, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to believe in me. Maybe it's time to stop believing things are impossible. Maybe it's time I stop being a skeptic. Maybe it's time I stop being negative. Maybe it's time I start believing. Believing in the opportunities, believing in the ability, believing in the American dream, and believing in myself. Impossible is nothing. Do you know that? Do you know that? Impossible is nothing. Nothing is impossible.